being in this human experience itself, it's inevitable that you will have a certain degree of pain in your life. But you have to ask yourself, are we talking about that certain degree of suffering which is a norm, or you feel sometime you're going more than the normal suffering? And when you look back, most of the time, this normal suffering is because of your own choices that you make in your life. So basically, Samkhya says there's three different kind of pains are there. The first pain being the pain which suffering which is caused by nature itself, Adi Daivik. It's a pain that we don't have any control about. It's a suffering, let's say, for which comes through earthquake, flood, or to the best example, the coronavirus itself. We all went through that period of 2 3 years. It was a difficult time for most of the people. It was a difficult suffering, and there was nothing we could have done about it in that way. The other two sufferings are kind of in our own choice. One being Adi Bhautik. Adi Bhautik is a suffering which caused by somebody else. Somebody came, hit you. Somebody came, stole something from you. Somebody broke up with you. So you feel that somebody else has given you a certain degree of suffering. The third pain is the most important one. And if you look into it, most of the suffering which we get in our life is this third category. It's, it's called as adhyatmic, the suffering that you bring to your own self. It's a suffering that you choose, like for say, is the promises that you made for yourself. The promises that you made to yourself that, okay, I'll not fall back to my patterns because you know that this particular pattern is dangerous for me or harmful for me. Like just for saying some particular substance abuse. You're addicted to certain things and you know that because of your addiction to this thing, you'll be not able to work or you'll be not able to reach your goals that you're working towards. And that's going to bring you certain degree of suffering in your life. But still, because you don't have the strength to get out of it at this particular moment, so you choose to go back and fall back towards your substance. So it's you, yourself, has chosen to bring this suffering for yourself. The suffering are caused because of five different of kleshas. What are these klesha? The first being is avidya. Avidya is the false knowledge. The false knowledge of, let's for saying also that, okay, I'm suffering. Why I'm saying that that's a false knowledge? Because if you go and inquire who's suffering, if there's a physical pain there, so you can in fact say that my physical body is suffering, my leg is suffering, my arm is suffering. If you're going through some mental stress, you can even say that my mind is suffering. But the moment you are able to detach yourself from your physical body to your mental body also to your real self little bit, you already have created a space. You have created a space between the suffering and yourself. So that itself is going to help you a little bit to, in a certain way, be not completely get entangled with this suffering. The second of the klesha which comes is asmita. Asmita is the I-ness, it's the ego. We all feel that this is me, this is mine. This also brings you a certain degree of pain in your life. At the end, you have to understand nothing belongs to you. You have given this body, you have given the belongings around you to experience the juiciness of this life, but it doesn't belong to you. The only thing is there, it's yourself. So experience the thing around you, but it is not yours. The moment you are coming towards the attachment, so by the word attachment itself is the third klesha. Third klesha is the raga. Raga means the attachment. So the moment you are able to attach yourself to your belongings, or in fact towards a particular person, that you are completely attached to this particular person, you feel a certain sense of that person belongs to you, you are going to cause you a certain degree of suffering for yourself. The next of the klesha which comes is dvesh. Dvesh is the hatred, is the aversion towards certain things. I hate that thing. I hate this. That itself creates a very strong negative energy within your own being. You'll feel very, mm, and it's a choice that you made for yourself. If you, it's completely fine that you don't like something, but understand this is how the world's is being. There is no need for you to like everything, but understand that and accept that there is a necessity for your, for that particular object of your dislike also, and that's the reason it's existing at this moment. So accept that part. If you don't like it, it's completely fine. Keep yourself a little bit separate from it. Don't let that object to completely affect your own emotional state. So keep a separation from it. There's no need to hate it. Just stay away from it. That itself is fine. And when coming to the last of the last, klesha is the abhinivesha. It's a little bit of tricky one. The moment a baby is born, it's born with the fear of death, which is the abhinivesha. Why do we have the fear of death? Because we have experienced death life after life after life in the past. And that's the reason we have this fear of death. You may say that, okay, I don't fear death, I fear suffering, or I fear the death of my loved ones. But that itself is also a fear of death. Because if you go back a little bit biologically to our ancestor used to live in a tribe together because that was their safety, in a group together. When they used to go out also hunting, also they used to go in a group together because they knew they have each other's back. If anything comes, a wild animal comes, they know that the other person will, one other person will fight together. So the moment you know that at this life also you're going to lose your parents or somebody loved ones, you know that you lost your back support over there. So that's the reason it's also going to affect your own life. That's the reason you actually have the fear of death. And all this thing can be only gone by understanding your own true being. Who are you in your reality? Also, you have to understand the pain which I was talking earlier about, Adibhautik one, the suffering caused by somebody else. In fact, what you can do is you can be thankful for it. You can be thankful that that person has given you an opportunity to look into the things that you haven't looked into. Maybe for some reason that person have broke up with you because you were not giving that person enough attention, and that's why they choose to leave you. Or maybe it can be opposite. Maybe you haven't drawn the line of your own boundaries, and that person have taken you for granted, and at the end they lost their interest on you. And you also didn't do the boundary over there because you thought that if you have drawn your boundary very clearly, that person will leave you. So you haven't drawn any kind of boundary of your own principles over there. So it's very important to be true and to be truthful towards your own being. And that will only happen when you will start inquiring, who am I and what are my principles in my life? And what is the human experience that I'm having? Also, what is the human experience that I want to go through? And these are the entire journey of yoga. And this is the journey towards your own being.